Heyo, it's me, Harper Savage, and today is a very special day because my second coloring book is finally out. And this one is called Foraging in the Wild, Coloring in a Journey by me. So this coloring book is a little bit special compared to the last one. It is a similar theme, but I decided to actually write a little story along with this coloring book. Now it's like 1 to 2 sentences per coloring page, but you by no means have to care about that. You could color it however you want. It's just there for fun. So first we have the nice matte cover with that smooth, almost soft touch finish. It's very sensory friendly in my opinion, but we got a little Peanut holding his basket here. Peanut's my dog if you don't know, by the way. And on the first page is the cover page, and it is a little bit simpler than the cover itself because Peanut has handed off his basket to you. Now this page is actually what made me really inspired to want to write a little story along with the coloring book, because I thought it was cute that it looked like Peanut was handing his basket off and you traded a bone for it. Now here's a disclaimer about it having a little story, but you don't have to follow along with it. So here is the nameplate page, illustrated by me, edited by Knock, colored by, and you would put your name here. And gotta say, I really like how the backpack turned out for this, and I really like drawing these type of trees for some reason. I don't know why, but I really do. I'll let you guys read to yourselves, just because I think it might be too complicated for me to read this story and also talk about my thoughts and process of each page here. So let me go ahead and turn this around so you can see it better. This was one of the first pages I made for the coloring book, and I thought it was cute to have plants in little bottles here. Now here is the next page of the things that you probably should bring along if you were to go out and forage in the wilderness. I made this product up. I don't know if it's real or not. I made a bug and sunblock together because I couldn't fit both on the page in the way that I wanted. And I really like how this page turned out nice and crisp looking too. So here we have this page. This was actually the first coloring page I worked on for this coloring book, and it is a cat staring into a goldfish-ish pond. You can actually maybe color this like a fox too, because I made it a little bit more floofy of a cat, but you know what, color it however you want, of course. And it's funny, this page I kept going back and forth between giving them pupils, and it just didn't look right in my style for some reason, so I left it blank for you guys to fill in if you want. Here we have a fruit page. It's not as nice as the flora and fauna fruit page in my opinion, but this was also a page from an Inktober prompt, so I honestly, if I had more time, I would have probably not included this page in the coloring book and did something else. But because of all the things happening in my life, I could not bring myself to make more coloring pages for this. And then we have a kiwi page. So we do have a couple of pages like this in the coloring book where it's a fruit with the fruit name with it. I kind of imagine it being a little bit like the field guides of things where they have their little chart and graph and pointing at stuff, saying what they are and things, but in a cuter way, if that makes sense. And here we have star fruit. Now that's an unusual fruit, but I wanted to include it anyways. I actually have several more of these fruit pages that aren't in the coloring book, so maybe someday we'll see those in a coloring book. Here we have mushrooms. This was originally in one of my old bullet journal spreads. I had drawn as a divider between the months. Here's another Inktober page. Now this one went through a couple of changes. Originally, a lot of the lines were thicker on here, specifically where the mossy areas are. And I did the texture in a different way than I normally had done, and it was bothering me, so I changed it and made all the lines a similar thickness and changed the moss to be consistent with how I do moss in other coloring pages. This one's called Path, by the way. If it was from Inktober, if I didn't mention that. Try to get the whole sentence in the frame here. Now this was artwork I had originally done in Posca marker, specifically with the neon colors I had, and I really liked it and wanted to turn it into a coloring page. It's of a painted turtle. Now this is one of the first times I had made my own brushes too on this page, so You're gonna see a couple of pages where you see this exact brush, but I want to point it out because, again, it was the first time I had ever tried to make my own brush, and it is this brush right here where it's like a thin outline around things, and I think it actually worked out really great. So I didn't have to like draw perfectly parallel lines in places. Like here, where I drew the grass in using that brush. And this was actually an Inktober page that was square. So I had to add on like a lot. Like I actually moved the moths around a little bit, but it was like about like this, I would say, and I added like the top and bottom to it. Now here is a page that I did not like the process of drawing. I drew the foxglove flower twice. I drew a close-up version here and the faraway version here, and I copied and pasted it a couple of times, and I personally cannot stand when I can tell if something has been reused. So that's why I don't particularly like this page, even though it looks fine. And I even copied and pasted the hummingbird. The hummingbird was like a really last minute addition here because I drew this earlier on in making the coloring book, and right when I was gonna, you know, put all the pages together, I'm like, I feel like this needs something else, so I smacked another hummingbird in there. So this page is a lot of copy pasta, I will admit that, but I do think it doesn't look terrible. And here we have another fruit page. I really like this one. This one's like really cute looking. I don't know how else to describe it. And then we have the plum page. Looks very similar to the peaches. That's why I made sure I drew them in a different orientation, so it was a little more obvious what was what. And trigger warning, if you are afraid of spiders, there is spiders in this book. We're right there. This was from Inktober. Oh gosh, I forget what the word was. Was it spider? I don't remember now, but the year I did this Inktober, all of my images were in the right ratio compared to past Inktober's where they were all square. And then we have orange. I think orange was actually one of the first of the fruit line that I did, so it probably looks the best. Then we have the rotting stump. This is an actual stump that was in my yard. I had used a photo reference of it too because it had this cool like mushroom growing out of it. But it is like a dying. Well, obviously it's dying because there's no more tree, but it's like super rotting, and it was so cool looking, so of course I had to draw it. And here we have some ivy. Now I grew up in the wetlands and ivy is everywhere. It's not poison ivy, just like things that grow on vines. So of course I had to draw this. This was also in Inktober. This was a square ratio page that I had to extend in both directions. Still looks pretty good in my opinion. Now I'll let you read that before I turn the page here. And this was from Inktober as well. We have a little baby deer. So cute. And we also see a hiding place for some squirrels. I think this prompt was called Dream. I can't quite remember. And here, one of my other favorite pages, even though I procrastinated doing it for so long. Yeah, I got to this page in the coloring book. It was like near the end half of the coloring book, and some things were going on in my life, and I like just abruptly stopped working on the coloring book for, I would say, about like 5-6 months. That's why this didn't come out when I wanted it to, but again, I had some really horrible things happening, so I had to take a break for a long time, unfortunately. And here we have the raccoon page. I think it actually turned out to be pretty good now that I see it in print. I was kind of thinking it was a little boring when I was going over the coloring pages. I think it actually turned out really cool. Again, pupilless fish. For some reason, I feel like it just looks weird in my style to give him pupils. And here we have a frog using a mushroom as an umbrella. This was also in Inktober, but I think I want to say that the original didn't have a snail on the mushroom. I could be wrong though. It's been a while since I saw this Inktober, to be honest. I don't even remember what the prompt was called. That's I feel like the year that the ratio was like this for my sketchbook, I just don't remember most of it for some reason, even though it was one of the most recent ones I've done. And here we have bees. Now, if you know me, you know that I think bees are cursed. And this was no different. So like what happened with this page is I did have a whole sketch done for this coloring page. I tried to do it one time. It wasn't working out, so I scrapped the idea. And then when I was like, I only need so many more pages, like I need like 5 pages to finish this coloring book. I grabbed out all my sketchbooks to see if I could like find something so I wouldn't have to actually like come up with a concept, because that's the hardest part, to be honest. It's like coming up with ideas and concepts for the coloring page. I saw this and I'm like, let me give it one more shot. And I did, and I actually do like how it turned out. I originally had like flowers here though, but I decided to scrap that and just put another bee there because the flowers just seemed out of place. And yes, I'm aware I drew my honeycomb in the shape of rupees and not honeycomb shaped, okay? That's just my style. Oh, here's one of my favorite pages. This is like just a full-on page of mushrooms. This was actually another bullet journal page that was like another page divider. And I really liked it, so I wanted to turn it into some line art to color. Now here we have another Inktober. I don't remember what this one was called again, but I believe this one was square. If it wasn't square, maybe it just was off by a little bit, because I do remember having to make the decision of extending the trees or extending the foreground here. And I think I kind of just did a little bit of both. Yeah, we got the secret fishy right there. Anyone want to go over there and see if it's okay? No? Alright. And we have strawberries. This one's really cute too. I think this one and the peach one are like cuter than the rest, and I don't know why. Now, this one came from Inktober, but it was actually different than how it is now. For Inktober, it was just the puddle with a couple of extra drops and trees reflecting in the puddle. I shrunk it down, moved it around, and I put footprints around it because I'm like, there's nothing around the puddle. Maybe I should do something about that. And I think the footprints actually made it look really cool. Here's one that I did modify after I was like, okay, I'm done. This one originally had like very generic looking, like they almost look like pansies but missing a couple of petals around it and some circles that could have been berries or something. I didn't like how that looked when I was like going over the pages again to see if I needed to fix anything, if I missed a line, or if I like needed to erase, you know, before I put it all in a book and regretted it. So I changed it to fire wheel flowers, I believe they're called, and I like it a lot better now. Also, this is the bunny from Flora and Fauna's nameplate page. Here's one of the last pages I worked on. I keep referencing last pages. I'm going to say that for a handful of them, and that just means I worked on them in 2024. Compared to the rest of the coloring pages. These are cloudberries, and I believe they're rare, and I thought they were really cool and wanted to draw them. Now here we have some bats. I can't remember what was wrong with this page, but I remember being really stuck on it. But then when I went back and I fixed it, it wasn't a big deal. It's kind of like folding laundry. You don't like the idea of putting your clothes away, but when you do it, it's not a big deal. So I don't know. I can't remember what it was that I didn't like or had to fix about it, but I did it, and I was like, wow, why was I like procrastinating with this? Another Inktober, but very, very much improved the original Inktober. My owl didn't look like an owl, and my mandala wasn't perfect as usual. I could never draw them perfect by hand, but I really like how this one turned out, because of how much of an improvement I made to the owl. And here is my favorite page by far, because there's like a lot of stuff going on here, and I just really like how that looks. And we have the return of the basket, which funny enough, I had originally planned on having a basket, like the basket Peanuts holding in his mouth in the beginning, as a page with stuff in it like this, but like forward facing. And I had such a hard time drawing the basket in Peanut's mouth that I'm like, I don't want to do that again. So I actually scrapped that idea. And then I brought it back for the very last page, and this was the last page I worked on for the coloring book. And I thought it was cool to have a little bit of the stuff that we like mention and find on our journey in this page, like the honey from the honeybee page, the cloudberries, acorns from the fawn page, and strawberries and all the fruits that we saw earlier, and even some foxgloves and the mushroom page. I just thought it was cool to include a lot of things in this last page here. Well, second to last page. The last page is actually the background from the cover. This was originally not going to be the background for the cover and back cover page, but I liked it so much that I'm like, it's gotta be. And it matched Peanut very well in my opinion. So that is the last page. We do have the copyright in the back this time. I didn't want it in the back, but it didn't really make sense in the front this time. And here we have the swatch page in the back of the book, just like flora and fauna, in case you need to test out your art supplies or figure out what colors you want to use and whatnot. And there's another page here for that as well if you need that. And here's the where it was made by. Yours is going to say something else because it's going to be whatever is closest to you with the most availability kind of deal. I usually get mine from Delaware, but this one is different this time. I don't know why. And here's the back of the book. It's a preview for the Amazon listing, so people can know what's like in the book before they purchase it. But yeah, this is my new coloring book. I really hope you guys enjoyed the flip through here. The link will be in the description for you to purchase this, and thank you in advance for anyone who continues to support me. But that is going to be it for me. If you want to see the flip through of Flora and Fauna, my first coloring book, you can go ahead and tap the thumbnail here. And if you want to catch up on anything you missed, you can go ahead and tap the thumbnail here. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to do all the cool YouTube things of comment, liking, subscribing, and turning on that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!